Alright, we have some very dense shade in this spot, and we're actually growing a crop in this dense shade. Before I do anything, I gotta get these stinging nettles out of the way. I guess I should have made them for cords, but too late now. I made some cordage last year and I figured out a really interesting way to get real long strings off of them very easily. So this is our crop. These are black currants. And look at this shade that they're growing in. The leaves are all healthy looking. Black currants right there. Wow. Ooh, they smell good. I'll zoom into that a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Yeah. Black currants. Some of them are already falling off. You can see the empty racemes, or however we pronounce it. I think it's R-A-C-E-M-E. Ooh, that berry was empty. So, and they're falling off really easy. I've actually kind of forgot about these back here. And I was walking up with some black raspberries and I thought, oh, don't I have something back there? I was thinking maybe a Josta berry back here. But no, it's a black currant. It's first year fruited. First year it didn't have this shade issue. Everything was little that I planted it with. I've read that Thrives are understory plants, so you know, let's try it. I don't think I've ever seen anybody demonstrate currants in such deep shade. But there you go, you can get a crop. Now I do admit that black currants aren't something that you can eat every day, a lot of every day, but they are a good treat in between a lot of other foods. Every so often. Not often, every so often. But if black currants will make it in this deep a shade, why wouldn't white currants or red currants? I think I do have a red currant back in here. Oh, I see some right down there. They're not even red yet. They're still white. There's so much shade. And they're little. Little berries. I actually had that on that same variety, little berries in the sun too, first couple of years before they started to make bigger berries. I've got some very large black currants too. We'll have to go check that bush. I picked it maybe 3 days ago. There were a lot of berries that were getting close. It's back there in the, what I call the buffering zone between the neighbor's lawn grass and the forest garden. This used to be just bare grass back here. Look at, there it is. Look at those currants. Those are dandies. Keep forgetting what the name of this is. That's what I got a tag. Most of the tags I lose, but this one I haven't. Ben Lamond, black currant. Well, Ben, I'm going to pick some of your black currants. They're dandies, and they're actually not tart like the normal black currants. They still are tart, but they're not where you cringe. They still have that pine needle flavor. And that's good. We should be eating everything that's edible. That's what our grandmothers 100 times removed from us told her children. There are seasons, and within the seasons there are a ripeness of different foods to eat, and you eat them all. You think of the differing nutrients in these crops, and how humans have adapted to all of that. That's what we should be doing. But that's not what we're doing because of the fascists that control the agricultural model. They want us to just eat a few things. Crops that they can get for cheap and manufacture into nearly worthless foodstuffs. And that's what they like. They want to turn something worthless into money to support their high lifestyle. And everybody, and then they like to focus on the farmer, how they don't make any money and all that, and that's all. Everything's a shame. This whole system was set up for the farmer to fail. Universities teach this stuff, and the fascists control it all. They control the politics. They control the education process. Don't believe there's such a thing as public education. You might be funding it, but you definitely don't control the curriculum. They do. They pretend to be socialists or some other type of political stripe, but they're all working for the corporations. And that is the base definition of fascism, is using the force of government to protect the business models and enhance the profits of the corporations or the wealthy elite. You can interchange those two because they hide behind the corporations. And that is a fact. As soon or as young ago as our grandparents knew that. All the World War II vets knew what fascism was. They went over and gave their blood to fight it. And now we've all forgotten it in this country anyway. Being the United States. Yeah. So they got pretty much all control. There really isn't much you can do. You're just going to have to go with the flow now. They tell you to jump, you better ask how high. But in the interim, you do things like I'm doing. Start growing some of your own food so that you're not totally dependent on them. That's really where they want you to be, is totally dependent on them. Where you have to do what they want you to do. So it gets more complicated than that, but I'm not going there. Here's a really big one. Look at this one. Come on, focus. Look at that. That is a big black currant right there. You see me eat berries right off the bush. I don't recommend that for anybody to do. You should wash them, especially if you're a city person. You don't have much bacteria in your stomach. You're probably been vaccinated, medicated, taking antibiotics for things you shouldn't be. And now your system is weak. Whereas I believe, and I just believe this, I'm not a scientist, I'm not telling you that I'm right, and I don't even think scientists can tell you that you're right. They're right either, because of so many variables. everybody's just guessing. But I believe I'm actually adding to my bacterial system by eating these things right off the bush. I did get kind of a violent sickness yesterday morning. Lasted about an hour. I purged out of both sides of my orifices, or in my orifices on both sides of me. And then I had a slight headache for a while. And my arms actually kind of hurt. My wrists hurt, kind of like when I drink way too much coffee, my wrists start to hurt. And I woke up this morning and I felt really good. I think that is a product of a very healthy immune system. Doing its job. Might have cleaned out more than just what initiated the response. Oh, this bush goes on. Well, I'm going to shut this camera off. I talked enough. I got to finish this bush. I don't want to move this camera around too much, then I'm doing more camera work than I am picking. So that's the story. So this is my bench back here under the honey locust tree. And it's always shady under here. It's cool. At least not always. It's just recently been always shady because the tree wasn't that big a couple of years ago. But it's getting big enough now that I'm thinking I'm going to prune it back just a little bit. Reduce the shade that's hanging over my food forest prototype. And maybe not. Maybe I'll let it go and see what happens. That's what experiments are for, right? We have our imaginations where we think how things should be, but maybe that's not how things should be. But anyway, here's my black currant harvest. Look at that, there's a whole bunch in that cup. So I'm not eating sugar anymore. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. I can eat them straight, they're not that bad. Maybe I'll just freeze them and then eat them straight somewhere in the winter. I've been kind of snacking on them throughout the last couple, no, maybe the last week or 10 days as I come out here. But no, a lot of them are ripening. I'm getting more than I can eat. Not bad. I've got some black currants way in the back that, boy, they make you pucker. You can eat them, but you can't eat a lot. With sugar enough, you make a jam or jelly out of them. Oh, they're just delicious. A lot of sugar. I gave up sugar for a while. So, alright, that's my black currant story. See you around.